Today we're talking about the Yorkshire accent, and we're going to find out why Hollywood actor Timothée Chalamet said this.
I like the Hull accent.
You like Hull?
Yeah. Why is everyone cracking up?
Why is that? Is it not a sexy accent?
Hull is sexy.
Hull is a city in Yorkshire, and honestly, the accent is so sexy you might need to close the curtains and light some candles.
I've got to go now.
But before we get to that, do you know what a Yorkshire accent sounds like? Well, if you've watched Game of Thrones, you've heard one.
But winter is coming. We know what's coming with it. We can't face it alone.
If you're a fan of One Direction, you'll also be familiar with the Yorkshire accent.
Personally, again, I'm not like a very outgoing, social person, like in terms of big groups of people.
And if you're a Doctor Who fanatic, your 13th Doctor Who had a lovely Yorkshire accent.
I eat danger for breakfast. I don't. I prefer cereal. Or croissants. Or there's a little fried Portuguese. Never mind, it's not important.
Now, before we jump into the accent itself, you've got to understand where it all comes from. Known as God's own country, Yorkshire isn't just a county, it's the largest county in England. We're talking about a place so big they had to chop it up into West Yorkshire, South Yorkshire, North Yorkshire and East Riding, just to keep it under control. You want big cities? You've got them. Leeds, Sheffield, York, Hull, take your pick. You want endless countryside that makes you feel like you're wandering through a Jane Austen novel? They've got that too. The Yorkshire Dales, the moors, mwah, beautiful. Now it's not just the place that's impressive, it's the people. I lived in Leeds for 3 years while at uni, and I met some of the warmest, friendliest people. One of my closest friends was a guy called Andy, who was from Sheffield. Now, I couldn't understand a bloody word he was saying, but he was a total legend. And he's not the only one to come from Yorkshire. We've got actor and big tea drinker Sean Bean, Spice Girl Mel B, Alex Turner from the Arctic Monkeys, and Jenny and Lee from Gogglebox. But the true beauty of Yorkshire is the language. The words, the sayings, the way it sounds. I mean, who else but a Yorkshire person would come up with this phrase? Where there's muck, there's brass. Which basically means, if you're willing to get your hands dirty, you can make money. And that's the thing about Yorkshire. There's a toughness and warmth to the people, the landscape, and especially the way they speak. Now, one thing to keep in mind is there's no one Yorkshire accent. It changes depending on where you are. But today, we're going to cover the essentials. I'll break down some of the most important pronunciation features. We'll get expert tips from a true Yorkshireman, Dan from BritSpeak. And at the end, I'll put you to the test with a Yorkshire accent challenge. Plus, there's loads of opportunities to practice throughout. Right, let's crack on. All right, we're starting with one of my favourite all-time UK accent sounds, the sound replacing an O. So when I lived in Yorkshire, a friend of mine dated a local girl and her accent was amazing. And she'd say things like, I don't know, no, I don't know, I'm on the phone. Amazing. I could listen to that all day long. So you can hear the elongated sound where other accents would say O. My understanding is that this is a particular feature of the eastern part of Yorkshire, like Hull. And maybe this is why Timothée Chalamet thinks it's so sexy. Fern. Go, home, no. If Timothée Chalamet is watching this video, he might want to turn down the lights because here is comedian and Hull native Lucy Beaumont giving us a few examples of her wonderful, sexy Hull accent.
And then we packed up and he turned to me and he said, I've got to go. And I was like, oh, all right then, just wait till you get in. He was like, I've got to go now. I don't know if you've noticed, but I've started to do a bit of telly now.
Oof, blimey. Now, if you like that sound, get yourself ready because this next one is possibly just as sexy and even more Yorkshire. The T sound. Now, Yorkshire has a funny relationship with the T sound. It often drops it in the middle of words and replaces it with a glottal T, like water, butter, later, which is something that, well, to be honest, most UK accents do. But it also does something very unique. It replaces the word the with a true T sound, or it just omits the altogether. So for example, I'm going to the shops becomes I'm going to shop. Put it on the table becomes put it on table. I live down the road, I'll live down to road. Sounds a bit mad, doesn't it? Yeah, Let's hear it used in context.
Before I got in band, I said to anyone who knew me, I'd never have a tattoo and I'd never smoke cigarettes.
Blimey, that is quite something. Later in the video, we're going to do some shadowing technique exercises so that you can have some fun with the Yorkshire accent. By the way, if you are looking for help with your British English pronunciation, I have a free 5-day British pronunciation challenge just for you. It's an online course with video lessons, quizzes and practice tasks that will help you get started on your British English pronunciation journey. We'll cover the main pronunciation features and the tips and tricks that Brits use to sound so natural. Are you ready to start communicating more confidently and fluently? Alright, well, the link is in the description below, or you can scan this QR code. You can enroll today and let's get you speaking brilliant British English. Okay, this next one is a truly classic sound that distinguishes the North and Yorkshire from the South. It's the ah sound. So in the south of England, you'll hear the longer vowel of ah on words like bath, laugh, ask. But in the north of England, it's pronounced with an ah. So it's bath, laugh, and ask. Now, linguists call this the trap bath split. Ah and ah. Trap, bath. And it divides England in half. So the most common time you'll hear this divide is with words where the A is followed by a TH, an F, an S, or an N. So in Yorkshire, you'll hear bath, laugh, after, last, chance, France, glass. Here's an example sentence. I had a right laugh last night. I had a right laugh last night. Let's hear this sound used by proper Yorkshire folk.
I'm allowed to say this out because this goes out past when kids have gone to bed.
They tried everything, but he stood fast by what he believed in. He's the only one with a moral compass, the only one who would you be able to trust and to be able to rely on and ask for advice and counsel.
Oh, I can't eat that last bit. Oh, what a waste.
All right, here we go with our next sound, which is the sound. It's used in Yorkshire on words like up, come, done, mother, and bus. In the south of England, you hear the ah sound. So it'll be up, come, done, mother, bus. But in Yorkshire, it's the sound. An example sentence. What time does the bus arrive? What time does the bus arrive? Does and bus. All right, let's hear this sound said in context.
So he loved like dressing up in suits and like wearing like specific tie done a certain way and like
Brothers, sisters.
My boyfriend at the time, now husband, who's from Tucson, got out at Wakey train station and Shat Taxi picked us up and he was like, oh my God.
Right, let's discuss more consonant sounds and in particular the TH sounds of th and the, which often change to the and f. It's a process we call TH fronting. It's not done by all speakers, but it's a feature worth talking about. Examples. So brother becomes brother. Mother becomes mother. That becomes that. Bath becomes bath. Think becomes think. And thanks becomes thanks. Now in Sheffield, they do something totally different, but we're going to talk more about that with Dan later on. But first, let's hear the TH fronting in action.
There was just one that bothered me, and this guy had put...
Our final sound is not really a sound at all. Yeah, how does that work? All right, let me explain. So, in most Yorkshire accents, the H sound, the H, is actually dropped. So this is, to be honest, this is really common in lots of UK accents, especially when it's at the front position of a word. So, for example, instead of saying hotel, it would be hotel. Instead of house, house. Instead of hello, hello. Instead of happy, happy. Here's an example sentence. Hello, love. How's it going? Hello, love. How's it going? Let's hear it said in context.
No reasoning behind it, wanted something big for my arm.
But if you're from the village and the workers lived in the village, you were a shatter. And then now, however many years later, you're from Shat.
They all hurt. Anyone who's saying they don't hurt is bullshit, and they all hurt.
Okay, I think it's time we got a proper Yorkshire expert in to help us to understand a few things. While we chat to my mate Dan from the YouTube channel BritSpeak, I want you to listen for any examples of the sounds that we've just looked at. So when does he use the ah sound? When does he use the When does he drop his H's? Does he use that funny T thing? Shop. Listen out and pay attention. All right, here's Dan. Okay, it's time to welcome Dan from BritSpeak. Dan, welcome.
Hey up, mate. How we doing?
So good to have you, man. So good to see you. Now, ladies and gentlemen, Dan is a legit Yorkshireman. Like this, I'd put you up as the most Yorkshireman I've ever met. Is that fair to say?
I'll take it. That'll do. All right. Yep. Sounds good.
So tell us about whereabouts in Yorkshire are you from?
Right. So I'm originally from Sheffield, kind of South Yorkshire. Actually Rotherham, but we don't say that because it's not as good as Sheffield. So I was born in Rotherham Hospital, but I lived in Sheffield. So take that for what you like. Yeah, but I moved to Japan, 10 years ago. So I've lost a bit of my accent, but you can take the lad out of Yorkshire. But,
That's it. You still sound as Yorkshire as it comes, honestly. So particularly a sort of Sheffield twang, right? There are bits of your accent that are particularly Sheffield. Now, could you just start us off by describing, I guess, the different regions of Yorkshire and what is Yorkshire's status within the UK? Like, how is it perceived?
So, yeah. I mean, inside Yorkshire, you've kind of got South Yorkshire, which is like your Sheffield and Barnsley and Rotherham and all them places, which is closer to Derbyshire, like that way on. Then you've got Leeds, which is a bit more West Yorkshire. No, it's north of Sheffield, but it's west towards Manchester, Lancashire, that way on. Then you've got like East Riding of Yorkshire or whatever, where a bit posher up them ends. And then, yeah, I mean, obviously York itself is kind of capital, if you like, of Yorkshire, but I don't know. Like, looking from outside, people, there's a couple of stereotypes that come with Yorkshire people. It's like, we're honest, hard-working folk, like, no nonsense from Yorkshire and all that. But it often gets to the stereotype, like, not well-educated, from Yorkshire, thick in arm and thick in head, as it comes. So there is the kind of that, but we're considered quite friendly, I think, but yeah, Yorkshire people have always got this idea of grandeur as well, like that we're so much better than God's chosen country,
Yeah, right. This phrase, I've heard it a few times, God's own country. What does that mean to you and to Yorkshire?
It's a bit daft, but basically it's like, Yorkshire's so perfect, only God could have made it for himself. It's not that good. I mean, I've been to Barnsley. It's not that great,
But, I mean, it is a beautiful county. There are some amazing parts of it, right? The countryside, the Yorkshire Dales and all that stuff. It is quite a beautiful place. I can see why they would think that.
Yeah, but I think it's just like also Yorkshire people, we kind of, I don't know, I think it may be like, because it was quite insular for a while and we don't want help from other big hills, we just want his own thing, and we kind of segregate from the rest of the UK in our minds, I think. It's like, it's his own thing, so, but yeah, I know what you mean.
I definitely think as a Londoner, we have a perception of Yorkshire, like, people up there are super friendly, like, it's like, you can walk down the street and people are like, all right, love, all right, Chuck, and you're like, for me as a Londoner, that's just weird. I love it, but it's different.
Yeah, when I first went to London, like, they don't say hello to each other down here.
Yeah, sadly we don't, no.
Well.
Okay, so we've talked a little bit about the accent, and obviously viewers can hear your beautiful Yorkshire tones as we go through. I've got a few bits of vocabulary that are very specific to Yorkshire that I'd love to go through, and you help us to translate them, if that's okay.
Yeah.
So first one is AOP. AOP?
AOP?
What is AOP?
Well, first of all, if I used to say it in a more polished accent, hey up, as in hey, hello, hi. But, we don't pronounce H at the beginning of words usually. So A rather than hey. And hey up, I think, is just like a nice way of saying hello, basically. Hey up, you all right? And yeah, I say that a lot.
Yeah. I've also heard like how do or how do.
How do is other one. How do you do? How do?
Also, now then, is that...
This
talk me
is
through
really
that one.
common. And now then, like somebody, you're in pub, you're having a pint with your mate, and another mate walks. Now then, look who's here. Yeah,
Okay,
like
so
that kind of thing.
A couple of nice little greetings there.
Yeah.
One that you say that I've noticed is, and a couple of my friends from Sheffield, like it's reet good, or instead of
Yeah,
right.
I mean this is also a bit of a variation in Yorkshire. In Sheffield, it's more like rate. Like I don't know if you can see behind me on this sign up here, berate, R-E-Y-T. So rate is the pronunciation in Sheffield, and it means right. So all reet is more kind of Leeds, where it's like all right, all reet. But for me, all right. But it's much of a muchness, But basically, it's a pronunciation thing where right, the I diphthong just becomes E, reet. Yeah.
Interesting. Two words that I think are classically Yorkshire are nout and out. Can you talk us through those two?
Of course. So, and once again, it depends where you are, out and out or oat and note, where I'm from, but it's very much the same thing. Oat is O-W-T, meaning anything. A note meaning not anything or nothing, if you prefer, And the other one that's connected to that is summit. Summit, oat and note. Something, anything and nothing. Yeah. For example, it might say something like, I'm going to shop. Do you want oat? Yeah, get me summit. Yeah,
what's the translation of that then? I'm going to the shop. Do you want
Would
anything?
you like anything? Yes, please get me something,
Okay. All right. Summit.
Yeah.
Brilliant. That's so good. I like out and now. I'm starting to use it. It's definitely a very Yorkshire northern
for sure.
phrase, but I quite like using it occasionally.
Yeah.
Okay, one that I do not understand is is it thou, thee?
Okay, like the pronouns.
Yeah, the old-fashioned pronouns. Talk me through all that stuff.
Yeah, basically, for example, you and your are the most common ones, and it'd be thee and tha.
Okay.
So thee and is you, and tha is yours, right? So I've just seen that lad down the street.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is really, and it's normal for me. Yeah, exactly. I've just seen your lad. I've just seen that lad. So it's a bit old-fashioned. It feels a bit like Shakespeare, like thou, But we don't really say thou, but thee and tha, 100% you'll hear, instead of you and your. But once again, it's something you might have covered in the accent stuff, but we do a lot of TH stopping and TH fronting in Yorkshire.
Right.
So especially in Sheffield, it becomes D and da, which is why people from Sheffield have got the nickname D-Dars. So, because we say D and da.
Right. I've heard this. So I went to uni in Leeds and a couple of Sheffield friends, and within the Yorkshire community, they would always refer
we call
to
each other.
Yeah, my Sheffield friends as D-Dars. You D-Dar.
Yeah. Exactly, yeah.
Okay, that's that one explained. No, I
because of the V and tha becomes D and da from Sheffield, because we're special like that.
I asked my audience for some questions.
Oh, wicked.
For you, because people are very interested in Yorkshire and
nice.
They wanted to know some more stuff. So let me go through these questions. Oh, this is actually from a fellow Yorkshire lass, pronunciation with Emma. She asks, what's a snicket, Mardy, lug, and tabagsy mean? I know tabagsy. Bagsy is to say it's yours, to claim something.
Yeah. It's like the Americans say shotgun, right? Like when you're going at car and you want to sit in front, you're like, Bagsy.
Yeah. A snicket. What's a snicket?
A snicket, some people call a gennel or a ginnel, depending on where you're from. But it's like the little path between two houses.
Okay.
So, sometimes you've got a house and a little path to walk in between them. Like a public path. That's a snicket or a ginnel or a ginnel or whatever. It depends on where in Yorkshire you're from. You'll pronounce it ginnel, ginnel, snicket, but they're all the same thing. Okay. So that's a good one. What were the other ones?
Mardy, but I know Mardy because I've listened to the Arctic Monkeys.
Yeah, I think a lot of people know that one because of that song. Now then, Mardy Bum, or whatever it is.
Mardy Bum. Yeah, so Mardy means like moody, right?
Yeah, miserable, grumpy, moody, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a good one.
And a
And
lug.
lug was the other one.
What's
Ah,
a
your
lug?
ear. Yeah, lug.
What is it? Oh, your lug.
Your ear.
Oh, okay, yeah, your ear. Okay.
And in Yorkshire, we say lug oil. Lug oil. Yeah, the hole in your ear.
Your lug hole.
Yeah, because the ear hole, like we'll say lug oil. You've got something in your lug oil, can't you hear?
Okay. All right, I'm learning.
Yeah.
Arino asks, how different are traditional Yorkshire puddings from those served in London or other parts of the UK?
I think actually it's not that bad. Aunt Bessie kind of took over and, like her mafia of Yorkshire puddings took over the UK. So I think it's one of the few things from Yorkshire that's been exported relatively well, and it's done pretty well all over the country. But if I have a Yorkshire pudding in London, I'm not going to sit there and be like, oh, it's not as good as, actually, it's not from Yorkshire, that kind of thing. So, but yeah, I think in Yorkshire, though, it depends on whether you're having like one big one or a bunch of little ones. Like, that's a big thing.
Yeah. So you guys almost use it like a plate, right? Like
it's basically like an edible plate. You just bang everything in it, ton of gravy, berate.
What a genius idea. An edible plate.
But I did see on Instagram in Camden, somebody's making like burrito wraps, but with Yorkshire puddings. I'm like, a good idea, that, mate.
The Yorkshire
well
burrito.
played.
Yeah. If any of you guys have been to Camden, the Yorkshire burrito, definitely worth the trip. You need a lot of moisture, a lot of gravy in there to get it moist.
Get some wet on it.
Get some wet on it. But it's delicious. Basically, it's a Sunday roast in a Yorkshire pudding.
Like wrapped up like a burrito, innit? Yeah, it looks good. Looks good, that.
It's really good.
So another thing I'd like to add about Yorkshire that's quite weird is our choice of verbs, especially third person verbs. Usually it'd be like I do, you do, he does, right? But in Yorkshire, we don't really play that game. For example, it's never I was, you were, he was, They're all were. I were, you were, he were, she were, they were. And we don't differentiate at all. And it's probably the biggest comment I get on my videos is like, you're using the verb wrong. I'm like, no, they're just the same thing where I'm from.
Right.
So I were going to shop, he were going to school, and they're basically exactly the same. And another great example of it is doesn't and don't become done. It's not even close to either word. D-U-N-T, I would spell it. Done. I don't know. He don't know. He don't go to school on Sunday. And it's quite simple for English learners because they don't have to worry about this, which one is it? But people will assume that you can't speak English very well.
That's really interesting. Yeah, these sort of regional variations and from the sort of deviate from standard English.
Yeah.
And there's this perception that it's wrong. It's like, no, it's just, it's this non-standard form that has grown up or developed in this region of the UK or whatever. So yeah, we've got lots of examples of that. That's really interesting that you said that. Well, I've heard of also like ant. Is it A-N-T? So like...
Yeah, I ain't done anything. I haven't, but A and the V disappears. I ain't done it. I ain't done out. I haven't done anything. I ain't done out. If police come and get you or whatever.
Right.
What are you doing? I ain't done out.
So will we describe it as contractions, I guess? Like,
I mean, when you get rid of more than half of the letters, can it be considered a contraction at that point? Basically, haven't becomes ant. I mean, we've literally got two sounds because the T is glottalized anyway, so that disappears. And the H, we never pronounce it. So the V just disappears for some reason. We've got ant. I ain't done it. I ain't done my homework.
Yeah. So for listeners and people who are in Yorkshire who are trying to understand, there's a lot that's missing, right? That's being sort of elided out of the word.
We take glottalizing to the next level where we just glottalize articles as well. Like the doesn't exist in Yorkshire. Now, depends where you are. Sometimes you'll get an actual like dental T sound. Going to shops, this kind of to the shops. But a lot of times in Yorkshire, it's just glottalized out. So people get confused because they expect to hear, I am going to the shops. But what you actually get in Yorkshire is, I'm going to shop.
Right.
It's not even close to the same thing.
So different. Yeah. Wow.
So it's really hard to keep up with Yorkshire people because, we don't say half at words, and even when we do, we don't say them right.
So, I mean, for people who maybe are visiting Yorkshire, maybe they're going to uni there, like to Leeds, to Sheffield, to York, and they want to get used to the sounds of a Yorkshire accent. Of course, Yorkshire accents come in different forms and different strengths. What would you say would be a good next step to understanding a Yorkshire accent?
Yeah, that's a good one. I mean, obviously, with any accent, the good thing to do is find kind of a model. Go and find like a famous Yorkshire, Sean Bean or whoever, and listen to interviews with those kind of people. Like what's he called? Alex Turner, Arctic Monkeys, like something like that from his early days, especially before his accent got weird. Go and listen to it and just kind of pay attention to some of the linguistic features. I'm sure you've talked about in your video, like vowel flattening and appy, at the end of word, and all this Y clipping and all that kind of weird stuff that we do. And I think like any accent, it's got to come down to exposure. So try and listen as much as you can, and don't feel pressure to do it yourself if you don't want to. Like, that's fine. But just be aware of some of the more obvious linguistic features. And I suppose that's things like foot strut split and like bath trap split and this kind of really obvious stuff that'll point you in the right direction so you can pick out what we're actually trying to say.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think you're right. I think that exposure to to the sounds, I guess it's knowing what sounds to be looking out for, then exposing yourself to them, and then, yeah, exactly, not necessarily trying to implement it yourself, just in terms of like understanding people. And I mean, let's be honest, Dan, if they started following you and listening to you for a little while, they would start to pick those sounds up.
Get a bit of it coming through. Especially, I mean, it's hard because I've been in Japan for a while now, but you can't get rid of it completely. But when I became a teacher, I did have to learn to elocute a bit more, because a point in case is like bus, love. This sound didn't exist in my world. I had to actually teach myself how to make this sound because it just didn't exist. Love and bus and so even for me, the other way, it was tricky. So,
yeah,
just kind of identify the sounds, isolate them, and then exposure. And before that knows it, you'll be talking like that.
Are there like thousands of Japanese people speaking with the Yorkshire accent now? Is that?
I've done my bit. I've done as much as I can do. But honestly, like when I first came here, like I was working with an Aussie and a Canadian, and they couldn't really understand me very well. And I was like, these little Japanese kids have got no chance. So I had to really work on the more neutral accent that people would expect from a British person. One big problem, one thing that I always try and do, and I think you try very much to do this as well, is to be like a bridge between the Cambridge CDs that came with your textbooks. John is going to the park. What is he going to see there? And then, you rock up in Yorkshire like, all right, what are they doing? They're all right. What they on we? And there's not enough of a bridge in between the two things. So I think I try and fit in that gap where I'm not completely like a textbook, but I'm not at 100%. I'm somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I think that's a really great way of putting it. A bridge between the two
extremes,
yeah. Yeah, perfect.
So good idea.
Okay, Dan, I would like you to rate my Yorkshire accent. So
you're good at accents, so I'm looking forward to this.
We'll see. So there's a phrase is going to appear. I'm going to say it, and out of 10.
All right, we'll do out of 10.
But you're not allowed to say 7. So you got to commit.
All right.
You got to commit. All right. Okay, here we go. All right.
Here we go. Loosen up.
Here we go. All right, come on, here we go. Hey up, how's that doing? I'll do it again.
That's not bad.
Hey up, how's that doing?
So the only thing I would have said is the longer on the A sound. How's that doing? How's that doing?
How's that doing?
Yeah.
Hey up, how's that
doing? Yeah. So overall, good stuff. I'd say 8. 8 out of 10 on that one.
All right.
The only one sound that were a bit off, rest of it were bob on.
All right, 8, not bad. All right, I'm happy with that. Okay, number 2. I will reach up with that. I will reach up with that.
So, yeah, this is once again the right thing that we were talking about earlier. I were reach chuffed with that. And I thought that was good. Once again, like, you know, let's even go further. 9 for that one.
Whoa, okay, all right.
But you have to be careful, though, because if you say reet with too much stress, it sounds like a Geordie.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, they're not far away, like, but for Yorkshire, it's less stress on that, but chuffed with that proper,
Oh, right.
you know, we didn't follow that foot strut thing that you guys do down south.
Yeah. The and the yeah, classic.
I were reet chuffed with that.
Brilliant. Okay, last one.
Go on then.
Now then, fancy a cuppa?
Okay. I'm going to give you a lower score, but it's not your fault.
Oh.
So I'm going to tell you 5, but it's because we don't say cuppa that much up north. We say a brew.
Of course. I should have known that.
But other than that, the word choice was a bit off.
Okay.
But it's not like I'm not going to understand you. Be like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
I can't possibly understand.
A cuppa? A what?
But yeah, we would probably say a brew. Fancy a brew? Brew.
That's really important.
And then you've got to do gesture. Brew. Fancy a brew.
Fancy a brew. That's really important. I think that is really important. It's like, it's those little subtle things that really tell you where someone is from. Like the vocab choice is geography, right? It's so true.
Yeah,
like you wouldn't say cuppa, right? That's really important to know.
Nah, growing up, we'd say a brew. Fancy a brew. And I think the best example of the geography thing is like, what's it called? A bread cake, a bap, a roll, whatever it is. Every 10 mile, it's a different answer. So,
Yeah. There's the great map I think I've seen of the UK, and it just has the different words in the different places.
where you're from, what you call it.
Yeah, it's like it's 10 different.
It's
versions.
funny that.
Yeah.
It is.
Fabulous. Dan, thank you so much for your insights.
You're more than welcome, my friend.
And at the end of the video, we're going to have some phrases from Dan, and you guys get a chance to repeat exactly what he says and sound like a proper Yorkshire person. So look forward to that. Dan, where can people find you? You're on Instagram and YouTube. Where can they find you?
Yeah, so basically my online name is BritSpeak, as in Britain speak, BritSpeak. So if you search, you'll find my little face on there somewhere. But yeah, I'm pretty easy to spot.
You are teaching fantastic British English. Love what you do. Thank you so much for joining us, Dan. Appreciate it.
Oh, you're more than welcome. More than welcome. Thanks for having us.
All right, guys, it's time to take the Great Yorkshire Accent Challenge. Dan has got 3 sentences for you, and I want you to shadow him and repeat the same words exactly as he says it. We'll repeat each sentence twice. Good luck.
Hey up, how's that doing? Hey up, how's that doing? I were reet chuffed. I were reet chuffed. Fancy a brew? Fancy a brew?
All right, how'd it go? Are you proper Yorkshire now? I think you might be. Of course, you don't need to actually speak with a Yorkshire accent, but it's really useful to be able to identify the sounds that might be in different Yorkshire accents, so when you hear them, you'll be able to understand it better. Now, don't forget to sign up to my free 5-day British English Pronunciation Challenge. The link is in the description below, or you can scan the QR code. And if you want to learn more about British accents, you can watch this video here or this video here.